It is Monday morning, and Denver Nuggets center Nikola Jokic has officially been announced as the 2021-2022 NBA League MVP, the most valuable player, beating out Joel Embiid, Giannis, other great players in the league to win his second in a row. It was, and at times, acrimonious debate about who should win. All deserving candidates, but Nikola Jokic has done it again for a second straight. And here to talk to us about that is Nuggets beat writer for the Denver Post, Michael Singer. Mike, thank you for joining us.
Of course, appreciate you guys having me. And I would just like to say from the jump, the fact that Joker has won back-to-back MVPs, that's an indictment. That means Joel Embiid, Giannis Antetokounmpo are not very good players, even though they came in second and third place in the NBA voting for this award.
Thanks a lot, Mike. That's been Takeline for today. We're going to shut it down right here, and that's going to be the soundbite for the show.
Appreciate it. All right, okay. It was fun, guys.
Right. So, but what do you, like a lot of this debate? First of all, what's your takeaway from this, his second MVP, and then we can talk about the way the debate about this particular award transpired over the course of the season.
I think it's a special award for Nikola. Becomes one of 13 players in NBA history to ever win back-to-back MVPs, the fifth center all time. This is the kind of guy, this was the 41st pick in the draft. He already did more than anyone ever expected of him in the NBA. And this dude is now among like the pantheon of NBA legends. I mean, you've seen the list. It's Wilt, it's Kareem, Bill Russell, MJ, Magic, Steph, Giannis, Steve Nash, and now Joker. I don't think, let's just be honest. I don't think a lot of people, quote unquote, wanted or expected him to win a back-to-back MVP. I was just looking at, that NBA GM survey at the beginning of the year that they do. They predict who's going to win the MVP in the upcoming season. He was not in the top 6, according to the NBA GMs, whose job it is to evaluate this. So this dude just did more with less. I think that's the reason he won the award. He didn't have Michael Porter Jr., no Jamal Murray, and yet he dragged this team to 48 wins. You can say all you want and indict him all you want about the playoffs, but sorry, Daryl Morey, until the NBA changes its rules, this is a regular season award.
I love it.
Do we have a new soundbite?
Yeah, we got it.
Well, so, okay, obviously in your heart and your mind, it's Jokic. But I would love to hear, say, gun to your head, you had to make a case for Embiid to win this award. What's the hype version that you're giving for Embiid to win this over Jokic this season?
I think that the best evidence you have for Joel Embiid is that he is more physically imposing and more physically dominant down low, just with his size, his obviously defensive abilities, his mobility is obviously more impressive and more significant than Nikola Jokic. I'm saying specifically around the interior, he is a beast. He is tough to deal with. And look, Nikola would be the first person to say that. He respects him to the nth degree. They have a relationship off the court, and they have a ton of respect for each other. So that would be it. And, I see the 40-point, 10-rebound games, the most this season. That's unbelievable. And it's not like he didn't have to deal with a lot of crap in Philadelphia this year in his own right. So that would be the argument. And they finished higher. They finished with 3 more wins. So if you're just doing a head-to-head comparison, I think you can make the argument that he is the more physically dominant player. From a broad scope of things, and I've covered Nikola for 4 years now, the way that he impacts everything. And you can't even indict his defense anymore. He is not a defensive target anymore. He's among the top 5 centers in steals and blocks. You can't say that he's this slow-footed, plodding center who can't process a defense. He can play defensively. And oh, by the way, he kills you on offense at every single level of the game. So like I said from the jump, huge indictment on Joel Embiid. Awful basketball player. The fact that he is number 2 or number 3, what are we even doing here? Why even, let's just vote on number 1 and get past this.
a lot of the discourse around Nikola's MVP candidacy, specifically from critics of his candidacy, kind of centered around this idea that like, oh, it's an advanced stats case. I think Nick Wright was probably, who I enjoy, I think Nick Wright was probably the most loud proponent of this particular kind of argument, that it was like, oh, the VORP people, Nikola Jokic's VORP campaign. Did that, the implication, of course, being that watch this guy and you will see that he fails the eye test. Now that, whatever you think of Nikola's case, it was patently ridiculous. You watch the guy and you're like, wow, this guy's great. But did that argument, did that bother the team at all? Did that get any traction in terms of like annoying the Nuggets? And like, what do you think of that particular case? The idea that, oh, it's an advanced stat case for Jokic. And if you watch the guy, you're just not going to be impressed.
I think, when you use that as your argument, you stake out that case on an island. You got to dig all the way down. You got to plant your flag and make that a thing. And so even if it's not a thing, which I don't think it is, because he's the first dude in NBA history with 2,000 points, 1,000 rebounds, 500 assists. I'm not even a math guy. And those are nice round numbers.
Yeah, the counting stats are really good.
Yeah.
Like, if you just want to do those.
Done before.
Yeah.
So Michael Malone, Nuggets coach, is asked, what can he do to top that? And he goes, well, shit, he can get 2,500 points. He can get 1,500 rebounds and 1,000 assists. Like, it's nuts, to say it's just the calculator MVP. Come on now. To drag this team to 48 wins, it was pretty evident how, the lack of depth that they had in that first round series against Golden State. It was painfully obvious. Aaron Gordon's supposed to be a number 4. Either a number 4 or number 5. He's not supposed to be a number 2. Like, I looked it up. There was Aaron Gordon was the lowest number 2 scorer in the NBA on any team across the league. He had 15 points a game. And yet they got to 48 wins. Say whatever you want about how much they tested the Golden State Warriors. I don't know how you can indict what this dude did by, the day in, day out stuff. And you talk about the cumulative stuff. He won MVP last year. He was better this year with less help. In a nutshell, analytics, I didn't use any numbers there. Like,
Mike, your energy on it. I was convinced it was Embiid before this. So your energy.
Are we at an A now?
Yeah. And that's what I was going to ask you was, if he had a slightly less impressive season this year, he would still be in the conversation. But so you truly think this past season was more impressive than the first time he won MVP? Yeah.
And you want to know what else is crazy? Everybody thinks he came out of the woodwork. 3 years ago, he finished number 4 in the MVP race. Yeah, it's not that crazy that this dude is doing what he's doing. This has been a slow build. He's now a 4-time All-Star, back-to-back MVPs. The fact that the GMs didn't think he was going to have the potential to repeat is a curious thing. And I also think that there's a lot of if you were to give the NBA the NBA itself some truth serum. Would they want Nikola Jokic to win again? Probably not, because for marketing reasons, for rivalry reasons, we want to promote a Joel Embiid versus Nikola Jokic. That is fun. That is entertaining. And Nikola Jokic, whether he gives a damn about the MVP award or not, he just put on a better performance than he did last year in his inaugural victory. So I think he does it out of spite. I think that he's like, I don't care, but I'm still going to show you that I'm this good. And that's kind of, he did. I don't know how you would indict what he did this year.
You mentioned the kind of like dearth of help around Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon. I loved his comments after the elimination, which I'm paraphrasing now because I'm going off the dome, with something like, I've just got to make better decisions. It's seeing how a good team plays. It makes me realize, how I need to alter my game. And it's like, man, you've been in the league 8 years, and it's just wild to be like, oh, I guess I should like make better plays. Anyway,
it got real hot in here real quick.
Yeah, Porter Jr. that has dealt with back problems his entire career going back to college. It's the reason his draft stock fell so precipitously. Jamal coming back, off of one of the most, serious injuries a player can have in the NBA. Where is the help coming from? And do they need to? Do the Nuggets need to think about even more help for Nikola Jokic? Obviously, Gordon's here, but Porter Jr. with that bulky back. How much can they count on him? Unclear what Jamal is going to give the team when he comes back. Although recent history tells us that those type of knee injuries are not as serious as they once were in the NBA. Is help coming for Jokic?
Yeah, the help is on the way, and they took a long picture approach with Jamal Murray not returning this year, with Michael Porter Jr. not returning. They both flirted with comeback attempts and tried to come back at various times, and both kind of rationalized we have a cap on what we can do this season, given that we're not fully healthy. But this offseason and going into next season, if you were to find that quote unquote window of the Nuggets' best chances to win a championship, it is this year and next year. And the reason I say that, Michael Porter Jr. is about to begin a 5-year contract that they gave to him before they needed to give him. And he has his third back surgery in 5 years. Now, again, I'm not a math guy, but those are uncomfortable numbers and uncomfortable ratios when you just committed $145 million guaranteed, $170 million over the life of this 5-year deal. If you want to maximize and capitalize on Nikola Jokic's prime, which is what Michael Malone said, Tim Connolly said at the end of this year, it is these first 2 years when who knows how long Michael Porter Jr.'s back is going to be a reliable player. How long can you trust that for? And then Jamal, I think that they think he's going to return and be fully healthy. I think so too. I mean, 15, 16 months off is going to do him a lot of good. I talked to Klay Thompson during the playoffs, and he said it was laughable that they would even consider bringing him back, dropping him into a playoff series. That's just an unfair ask. I think a lot of people would agree with that, to force a guy's hand. So that didn't happen. I do think the cavalry's coming. I do think they're going to be healthy next year. Again, without those two guys, the Nuggets had the 6th best offense in the NBA, the 6th. That's with Aaron Gordon, Will Barton, Monte Morris, who's a backup point guard starting, and 35-year-old Jeff Green as your power forward, who was never supposed to be starting at power forward. So all those things, he still does it. Where they need to improve is defensively. They're not good enough defensively. Aaron Gordon's really the only plus defender. And then, with that triangle of Joker, Jamal, and MPJ, how much do you trust them defensively? And are there upgrades to be made specifically in that starting unit where you can lessen the burden on Joker defensively?
Well, so, okay, I want to go back to the MVP award because I do feel like I've trashed. I was one of the NBA Twitter guys who was like, it should be Embiid. So now I'm trying to redeem myself and let's celebrate the MVP award. But that's kind of my question because you followed him as a person as well. And we've met his brothers. We've seen a little bit glimpses of his off-court life. How was Jokic reacting to a back-to-back MVP? How is he going out and celebrate? We're obviously going to see the official, acceptance of the award, but how does a Jokic feel about actually getting this MVP? Does it drive him? Is it just another, accolade? Like, how is he reacting to this?
Well, how does he celebrate? I'm pretty sure he rides around the horse track at double speed. He's like, all right, dream catcher. That's his favorite horse. Let's go. We got 2 times. So that's, I think, the first celebration. I asked him this after game 5 of the Golden State series when they got eliminated. And he goes, probably I would celebrate with some music, with some beer, with my family, with my friends. And he goes, that's probably how you're supposed to do it. And I love that he hedges because he's like, how the hell? I don't know. But the fact is he does know. I don't know how he got down last year when he did win it. But this time it's a lot different because he's back home in Sombor, Serbia, amongst his family and friends and amongst people where he could just lay back and chill and do whatever he wants without worrying about being caught on camera, which is all of our losses. And I'm very sad about that. But this, like, it's funny because he claims he will tell you multiple times he's indifferent to the award, but I don't really think that he is. I think he's more indifferent than other players, and certainly Embiid has campaigned for it. Last year, Steph Curry, LeBron campaigned for it. Joker will never campaign for it. And the reason why is because I don't think he wants his legacy tied up in individual awards. He knows that it is intricately connected to how he will be viewed in history. But he, coming from where he came from, a team first approach, he doesn't care about those individual accolades. He said a million times, like, I want to win titles. I want to win a championship. Like, that's what I care about. And, a month or two into this season, I go, it was pretty obvious he was going to be in the running for MVP again. And I go, Nikola, how excited are you to be, a part of this MVP conversation again? And he's like, can't wait, brother. Like, he cannot handle, he doesn't like the attention. He doesn't like the spotlight. And I mean, at the core of who he is, he's super humble. So to have all these accolades poured on him, that's not who he is in his nature. And that's not an indictment on other people. Other people can lean into the award if they want it or campaign for themselves. He's just not going to do that. But again, it just so happens he's that damn good where he forces everybody's hand and it's like, well, I guess he's going to win it again.
He is Mike Singer, Nuggets beat writer for the Denver Post. Thanks so much for joining us. Congratulations to Denver. It was really cool. Can't wait to see the Nuggets back in action next season, man. Thanks for joining us.
Appreciate it, guys. Thanks a lot.